Prepare for the loading screen that will be your mind exploding from amazing gaming news. Are you expecting this? I bet you're not. Oh, let's do this.
Hello and welcome to Respawn TV. I'm your host Evan Van Zandt, and this is your source for all things nerd culture. Let's start things off with this week's up-and-coming releases. You can look forward to seeing these titles and many more released throughout the month on your favorite platforms. We've got a lot of releases this week with the release of the Nintendo Switch, so we'll be running through them pretty quick. All Switch games are launch titles, so they will all release March 3rd. This week's releases are Horizon Zero Dawn for the PS4 on February 28th. Story of Seasons Trio of Towns for the 3DS, February 28th. Torment Tides of Numenera for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 28th. 1-2 Switch for the Switch. I Am Setsuna for the Switch. Human Resource Machine for the Switch. Just Dance 2017 for the Switch. Little Inferno for the Switch. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch and the Nintendo Wii U. Both versions will release on March 3rd. Skylanders Imaginators for the Switch, Super Bomberman R for the Switch, and World of Goo for the Switch. Once again, all Switch titles are launch titles, so they will all release on March 3rd. Keep tuned in each week to get news on up-and-coming release dates for new and exciting games. Now let's throw it over to Mackenzie Doherty with Behind the Theory.
Hey guys, it's Mackenzie Doherty and welcome back to Beyond the Theory, the show where we dive deeper into anime conspiracies. Today, we are going to be delving into Death Note. This anime follows Light Yagami, who is a normal college student until he discovers an odd notebook, which he discovers has magic powers in it, in which if he writes someone's name in it, then they will die. A detective known as L then becomes determined to put a stop to Light, and in the director's cut DVD, people believe that the new Shinigami is Light because he wore a suit and walks slow. The slow walk is a quote-unquote symbol of the unnamed Shinigami walking upstairs and reaching the light, just as Light did when he died, although Light didn't fully make it up the stairs. He was also interested in the human who tried to change the world, and he knew about Raiku's love for apples. Another one is that the Shinigami realm is actually purgatory, because purgatory can be acknowledged as being analogous with the Shinigami realm. They are both gray realms where beings exist in a cold world, filled with grunge and grime and absent of light. It's not known how Shinigami are created, but they still all seem to mainly be humanoid, leading to the belief that they could have once been human. People also seem to think that the beings in the Shinigami realm are replaced by new ones when they really die. The new Shinigami are in fact reincarnated humans that have used the Death Note, since Ryuk warns Light that anyone who uses the Death Note can't go to heaven or hell. The people in this realm have to atone for their sins by either saving a life, which in turn sacrifices their own, or spending their lives waiting for death in a barren, dry, desolate land, which free time can be spent either watching the regular humans or gambling. Yet another is that Misa was killed with a Death Note. Misa had a long lifespan he inherited from Rem, who possessed lifespans from other people, when she sacrificed herself. Misa then also inherited quite a few more lifespans from other circumstances. She also died only 7 years after Rem died, which suggests the likelihood that she was somehow killed by a Death Note.
How's it going? I don't think anyone else is in the house right now. Do you want to play some video games? Come on, it's been a while. You listening? Hey, Light!
Another theory is that Elle and Nier have Asperger's syndrome, which causes their strange behavior, seeming disregard for social contact and norms, and extreme intelligence. They also present other secondary signs, such as dislike of constricting clothing and shoes, always wearing the same clothes, and intense staring. There are so many different theories floating around about Death Note, and quite a few seem to revolve around the Shinigami realm. This show is really interesting even if you aren't looking into the conspiracies about it. This is Mackenzie Doherty, and you're watching Respawn TV.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Up next, we'll take a look at some interesting tech news from Wyatt Bell. Wyatt?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Wyatt Bell with This Week in Tech, and this week we're going to be taking a brief look at the newest update to the Android operating system, Android 7.0 Nougat. The main interface will look familiar to most Android users as it stays true to a typical Android layout, with some very cool upgrades on top of it. Most Android users will have no problem at all learning to navigate this new update, as Nougat has a very user-friendly interface and has a very quick response time, making user navigation much easier with fluid and minimal lag, if any at all. The look of Nougat will be a little different depending on what type of phone you actually have, meaning Nougat on a Nexus would look much different than, say, Nougat on something like a Samsung Galaxy. Each brand has its own unique look. Also new on Android 7.0 is an improved drop-down settings menu. With Nougat, you can take 2 fingers and pull down to access the full drop-down menu as opposed to 1 finger to only get part of it. There is also a new feature to quickly navigate back and forth between recent apps, simply by double-tapping the Recent Apps button. This will take you quickly back and forth between the 2 most recent apps that you have accessed on your phone, making switching from one app to the other very quick and very, very smooth. You will also be able to take a quick view of any messages that come in via text or email through the drop-down menu. Simply click on the downward arrow next to the message and you will be able to read the entirety of the message easily from your notifications bar without having to go into the app to actually see it, and you will be able to reply from the drop-down bar as well. Nougat will also have a newly improved multi-view window, making multitasking that much easier. Another new feature on Nougat will be a data saver. With this feature turned on, this will help tremendously to save your data, especially if you don't have unlimited data and have a tendency to get a little too close for comfort on going over your data limit. Nougat will feature an all-new settings app, improved display size, and a default GIF keyboard, as well as a bundle of notifications. Nougat will also be available on most flagship smartphones from companies like BlackBerry, Google, HTC, LG, Motorola, Samsung, and Sony. It has also been announced that Nougat will receive updates often much more than in past years on Android versions of the past. You will also be able to use 2 different apps at the same exact time on all phones running 7.0 Nougat, not just Samsung phones as was the case in past years. It will also feature an improved emoji selection for all you emoji lovers out there with lots of new choices. Nougat is a vast improvement over its predecessor Android 6.0 Marshmallow and is a very good improvement. Be sure to tune in each week for more This Week in Tech. Now back to Respawn TV.
Crash Bandicoot will be back sometime this year, and he's bringing more friends than ever. While Crash has made forays into cross-platform and even cross-franchise games, including multiple partnerships with the Nintendo consoles and Spyro the Dragon games, this will be the first time that Naughty Dog's original run of Crash Bandicoot games will appear on a non-Sony console. While the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy will initially release only on the PlayStation 4, it will eventually release cross-platform, making Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot Warped available to play on other consoles for the first time ever. These aren't graphical updates or ports either. The only thing being carried over from the original games is the map geometry. The game's physics, models, and graphics engine will be built from the ground up by Vicarious Visions, who handled the series for a period in the early 2000s, developing the huge adventure and Entrance handheld games that would be praised for being similar to Naughty Dog's third Crash game. The game does not yet have a definite release date, but it is supposed to come out this year and will be released on the PS4 first. The game will be released as a second collaboration with Activision, the first being Crash's appearance in Skylanders Imaginators, as well as a Crash-themed level in the game. We'll continue after some commercials, but first here is Jack McCormick with Why?
Respawners, hi, hello, 'tis I, Jack McCormick, here to bring you all your wonky game needs here on Why. Today on Why, we bring you straight from the ocean deep, Young Horse's Octodad. More specifically, this is the second game in the Octodad series, which has a much punnier name, which is Octodad Dadliest Catch. Octodad is your average suburban dad who enjoys the simple things in life, like family cookouts, mowing the yard, and chopping wood. But this seemingly normal dad carries a dark secret with him. He's actually an octopus. I know it's hard to believe, but if you look closely, Octodad is not a human being at all, but rather a cephalopod from the deep ocean. You play as this octopus in disguise who just wants to live the American dream as he raises his family, who also doesn't know about his true invertebrate identity, even though your appearance is not of that of your average human, and you communicate to them in a series of incoherent blub noises.
Well, that makes two of us.
But nevertheless, they live in blissful ignorance. You play through levels trying to complete simple tasks in the most non-octopus-like way possible to avoid arousing suspicion from your peers that you are not in fact a sea creature. Octodad is a devoted father and husband above all. He puts his family's needs before himself, even though it puts him in some less than ideal situations because in this game, everyone seems to have beef with octopi. You've conned everyone to believing that you are indeed a human male, without anyone else being the wiser. Well, almost anyone. Your main nemesis in the game is a chef who has a personal vendetta against you and knows your true identity and plans to out you to your family.
You see? He is octopus! I'm not crazy!
Awesome!
But by the end of the game, Octodad teaches us all a valuable life lesson in loving your fellow man, despite not being a man at all. I've had the pleasure of actually playing this game, and now I firmly believe this should be played at every business/company as a team-building exercise. The best way to play this game is with 4 people who will control each of Octodad's limbs. Through the power of camaraderie, you and 3 friends will work together to help Octodad complete his human chores. The movements are fast, sloppy, and hard to control, which is challenging at times, but that's half the fun of the game, is the chaotic movements of your boneless protagonist. This is Jack McCormick with Why. Now I think I've octopied enough of your time for the day. Oh, octopus pun, you weren't expecting that one, were ya? Back to Respawn TV.
Welcome back to Respawn TV. I'm your host, Evan Van Zant, and you just saw Jack's pack, Why. Disney recently announced that the company has been doing research in wireless charging, revealing a device that can start charging a phone as soon as it enters the room. A room designed with, quote, purpose-built aluminum structures, end quote, as well as a copper pipe in the center surrounded by capacitors, can disseminate 1900 watts of free-flowing power harmlessly into the air, given that the living beings in the room don't come within 46 centimeters of the copper pipe. Obviously, this is not an ideal situation, but Disney's research suggests that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Finished products may use, quote, conductive paint or modular panels. The setup can charge with 40 to 95% efficiency based on where the device is in the room and can charge up to 10 devices without ports or cables. Current theoretical implementations include public places like Disney parks or coffee shops, essentially allowing for, quote, no dead phone zones in public. Although Disney has not officially commented on how they plan to use the technology. Up next, check out Esports Now by Sean Nino.
This is Esports Now, where we'll talk about everything going on in the esports world. I'm your host, Sean Nino. We start off this week with Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Virtuous Pro won DreamHack Masters Las Vegas with a 2-1 victory over SK Gaming in the Grand Finals. SK won the first map 16-8, then Virtuous Pro won the next map 16-11, and the final map 16-11. This is Virtuous Pro's first championship since DreamHack Bucharest 2016 in September. March 3rd through the 5th will be IEM Katowice with CSGO and StarCraft 2 taking place. This event is the culmination of many other events from around the world. Katowice will feature the world's most talented pro gamers, and they will be fighting for the World Championship title and everlasting glory.
Candace Baker finds the kill. The Nexus goes down, and game 1 goes over to SK Telecom G1.
Taking a look at League of Legends, the NALCS wrapped up another week. Cloud9 had a rough week, finishing 0-2, and TSM went 2-0 during the week. Both teams are now tied atop the league with 8-2 records. Rounding out the top 5 is FlyQuest at 6-4, Phoenix 1 at 6-4, and CLG sitting 5th with a record of 5-5.
Quick to actually go over the wall and remove the blast cone threat. Will they commit though?
Yeah, Miffy, he's going to get the Great Health on, and Chachi's going to send one flying, but he might give his life for it. They do manage to take down Miffy, and Exile goes in onto Trick, doesn't have the damage to finish the job. He has to warp out to safety, but not before Expect gets one last slice on him.
In a matchup of Europe's 2 best teams, G2 Esports came out with a 2-0 series win against the Unicorns of Love. G2 is still leading Group A with a record of 7-0, while Misfits is not far behind, sitting in second place with a record of 5-1. Despite the loss, the Unicorns of Love are still leading Group B at 5-1. H2K is in second place in Group B with a record of 5-2. G2 Esports, the Unicorns of Love, and H2K will also be going to IEM Katowice, but that takes place February 22nd through the 26th. The results will be on the show next week. Smash Summit Spring 2017 has finalized its roster with 16 Super Smash Bros. Melee players. 2 players were added in the final round of voting, Ice and Chudat. They join players such as Leffen, Armada, Hungrybox, Mewtwo King, and Mango. Smash Summit Spring 2017 will run March 2nd through the 5th in Los Angeles, California. This is Esports Now, and I've been your host, Sean Nino. We now send it back to Respawn TV.
Before we leave, we'd like to take a moment to remember Alan Stone, who lost his battle with cancer last week. Alan was responsible for bringing Nintendo coin-op games like Donkey Kong to the US, was the co-founder of Nintendo of America, and served as Sega Enterprises CEO for 10 years. Alan was 71 when he passed. Welcome back to Respawn TV. I'm Devin Van Zant. Project Delta is coming up next. Respawn TV and Delta air each week, Monday through Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m., and you can watch our content online at facebook.com/respawn8 and on KNWT's YouTube page. Now it's time for a quick commercial break. Please stay tuned for more Respawn TV.
Hello and welcome to Project Delta. I am your host this week, Andy Johnson. I am with Shane.
How's it
How
going?
you doing? Doing pretty good. He is the producer of Katatui and Northwest Sessions. And what game are we playing this week?
We are playing FIFA 17.
Awesome. Awesome. And the MLS season is coming up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's actually going to be starting this Friday. My favorite MLS team, Sporting Kansas City, will be actually starting on Saturday. They'll be playing DC United. I believe that's a day game. I'm not sure about the exact time, but it is a day game.
Nice.
And
nice.
I'm very excited for it, honestly.
So just so everybody knows, he is Sporting KC. He's going to be the triangle that's blue, and I am LA Galaxy, my favorite MLS team at least, in the blue with the red triangle on top. And right now I am currently trying to score, and thank you for doing that. So now I know that the MLS season is starting up, but the other leagues, like the Premier League and La Liga and all that kind of stuff, they've started already, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Champions League is actually getting going right now. I believe they're in a round of 16, but that has been going on. The Premier League has been going on for a bit. So those are just kind of the basic European leagues that have been going on.
Gotcha.
But I'm more of a fan of the Champions League. You just get to play with so many teams that are there. I'm gonna let it rip.
Ooh.
No, too high. But yes, the Champions League is awesome. It takes the best teams out of every single European league.
Oh yeah.
Usually you have to be the top 4 finisher in that league. So I mean, you have teams from like the Premier League, like Arsenal there, and I believe Man City is in it. My personal favorite to win the Champions League, I think it's going to be Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they're really good. They got that Mueller guy from the German team. That guy, he's a beast.
A lot of the European national team players are on FC Bayern, and they were wide open. For that one. I thought you were going to score there.
I thought that too. I was ready to jump up and screw up all this work that we got.
But yeah, I think Bayern Munich's going to definitely win that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they just completely destroyed Arsenal 5-1. So
ouch.
like, that's kind of how you know.
Yeah.
Two best teams. I can't remember if they didn't win it last year, but I'm pretty positive they were in the final for it.
Oh yeah.
So they're a good favorite to win it again.
Most definitely.
Who knows who's going to win the Premier League? Honestly,
it's anybody's game.
With
it used to be
Leicester winning it last year.
Yeah.
Too, it could.
Yeah, exactly. The team that was almost on the brink of getting eliminated from the Premier League to being the champions. I mean, anything can happen in the Premier League now, with Man U kind of dying down. I guess not necessarily dying down, but just kind of being middle of the pack. I guess now they only have Rooney now. So
yeah. Going back towards the MLS, though, I am super stoked to get this season started. I love Sporting KC. I think it's like one of the best atmospheres. I know all the Bearcats are used to going to Sporting Park a couple times a year for the national championship, but I've been going there for the past couple of years for sporting games. And I mean, the fans just get into it like crazy there. I'm a part of the KC Cauldron. I've been a member of that for the past couple of years. Nice. And so that's an awesome thing to be a part of. Just those fans are like something else, which the fans are that way with every sport in Kansas City.
Yeah,
I mean, you see the passion for the Royals and for the Chiefs and those types of things.
I'm not a fan of the Royals, but we'll get past that.
Man, you are not a fan of Sporting or the Royals, and you really need to get your life together and start picking some better teams.
Yeah, well, Barcelona is my team, so.
I would like to see them play someday. I've seen Man City play Sporting Kansas City the year after they won in 2013.
Oh, yeah?
And during the 2014 season, Man City just got done off of winning a championship with the Premier League. And so they branded it all as like Clash of the Champions, that kind of thing, because it was mid-season to MLS season, and it was just like the preseason for Man City. But it was still a really like cool experience. We got that crap kicked out of us. We lost like 4-1, but we didn't. The second half we didn't even put in like all of our starters.
Here's a cross.
Buckets.
Oh!
Buckets.
Oh boy. I have to come back from that.
Zeusy, my man.
Yeah, on the United States national team. That's
he actually just got a cap. He just got he played for the U.S. national team a couple of weeks ago, and he also got the captainship for the game. So I think that was like his first time being the captain for it, and that was kind of cool to see him get to do that. Beasler was unfortunately injured at the moment, and so he has not been on the latest USA national team stint. But with that, we got Benny Feilhaber, a Kansas City player who has made it back onto the national team.
Nice.
He hadn't been on there for a while. There's been a coaching change with the national team, so.
They brought it back their old coach, I believe.
Bruce Arenas,
manager, not coach, manager.
It's all the same. It was Bruce Arenas. He's the new head coach of the USA national team, and he was the coach of the LA Galaxy
nice.
Before that. And before that, he was the coach of the national team. But then now he's back again, and I like him because he's putting Sporting KC players in, which is good for me as a fan.
Oh yeah, it's always good for local players to make the national team. Then you have somebody to watch.
Makes it a lot more exciting.
The
USA is going through right now. They're qualifying for the World Cup. And started off the qualifying bad, get a couple losses straight away, and so that did not help us. So we've pretty much got to win for a vast majority of the games, win or at least draw from this point. That's kind of why we've had the coaching change. The other coach was not giving us wins.
Jurgen Klinsmann.
So, yep, Jurgen Klinsmann. He was the old coach. I liked him, but we weren't winning. So
Exactly. If you're not winning, you got to have a coaching change.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
And speaking of not winning, that's what I'm really hoping Sporting KC doesn't have a problem with this season.
Well, they were champions in, about a couple years ago?
Yeah, 2013, but I mean, the last 3 seasons we went from consistently making the conference championship to winning the championship, then losing the first round of the playoffs for 3 straight seasons. So I want us to get back into competing for championships rather than losing out the first round of the playoffs. It kind of feels like being a Chiefs fan when Sporting's supposed to be making it to the championship.
Well, that makes sense. We're going to finish out this game for you guys. My name is Andy Johnson. I am your host this week. I want to thank Shane for being here. Shane, where can they find you?
You can find my stuff with Northwest Sessions and Katatui here on KNWT Channel 8. You can also find it on YouTube. Northwest Sessions airs at 7:30 p.m. Ooh, that was a close one. Sessions airs at 7:30 p.m. and Katatui airs at 8:45 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So definitely check those out if you get a chance, guys.
All right, so that's going to do it for Project Delta. We'll have a new game next week. Hope you guys can see it.